Good morning, it's David Balcon. I've put this video up because a lot of people have asked me over the last several weeks really about the issues around their time management and their effectiveness and how they don't seem to be able to get on top of what they're doing. And so I thought I'd put this quick video together just to give you some of my thoughts and experiences of working with people over a lot of years around this whole issue. I have some good news and I've got some bad news for you. The bad news is time management is a fallacy. You cannot manage the clock. You can do lots of reading on the subject, it will tell you need to do certain things, but the bottom line is the clock is always going to be ticking. I mean, if you doubt that, and I'll have a quick look there, there's a watch there, I don't know whether you can see that in the camera, but it's got a second hand on it, it's going round and round and round. And you know what? That watch will still be running long after I'm gone, and it will be running long after you've gone. At some point we're never going to have to watch a second hand go round again, so time management's not possible. So if you can't manage the clock, what can you do? Well, you can manage your priorities. You can manage your priorities, and that's really important because we all have the same time allocation every week. We get 168 hours a week. Not a second more, not a second less, unless you're really pedantic, and let's not get into that right now. 168 hours, and we get 2 short weeks in our life, by the way. We've already had the first short week, and we've got 1 short week to come. So I'm sorry if I'm the first person to break that news to you, but at some point we're all going to die. That's cheered you up, hasn't it? But that's true, isn't it? We are all going to, we know that the only thing that's absolutely guaranteed for us now, apart from paying tax, is that we're all going to exit the planet at some point, some way down the road. So, if you can't manage time but you can manage your priorities, what are you going to do to make a change? What do you need to do to make a change? The truth is, if you're a very busy person and you've got a lot of stuff going on, the first thing you have to do is work out how you can create some space in your schedule to let a change take place. I used an analogy yesterday on a social networking forum around the issue of if your cup is already full, there's no space to put anything else into it. And that goes back to an old story about the student going to the teacher and saying, "Please teacher, teach me." And the teacher just started pouring a cup of tea for the student and let it overflow and overflow. And the student said, "Well, why are you letting the cup overflow?" And the teacher said, "Well, because you've come with a cup that's already full, and for you to learn, you need to empty your cup." Well, it's the same thing here, really. If you want to create change in your life, you need to create some space for that to happen. And then once you've done that, you can really start getting on top of the whole issue around, can you really manage your time? So, I've got a couple of exercises I'd like you to do because I'm going to post some more videos on this topic, but I need you to do some work if you're going to really engage with this. I'd like you to sit down at some point in the not too distant future, because the clock is ticking, and work out what you spend your 168 hours on. What do you do with it? You work, you eat, you sleep, all of the stuff that you put into your life currently. Just work out what it is you're doing with your 168 hours a week on an average week. And if you're really a digital type of personality, you may even want to just measure that accurately to see what you're actually spending your time on. It may surprise you, it may frighten you when you have a look and see what you're spending your time on. I'd then like you to sit down and work out what it is that your life is really about. What's the big stuff in your life? What's your life mission, if you want? And try and visualize this maybe like a juggler would if he was juggling a set of balls, or she was juggling a set of balls, and some of the balls were made of glass. So the first one that would definitely be made of glass, in my book, would be your health and well-being. Your health and well-being is absolutely key critical for the rest of this, because if you're not healthy and looking after yourself, then actually you're much less use to anybody else. So if you start saying, well, my family is the most important, your family can be very, very important to you and should be maybe very, very important to you. But if you're not in a position to look after them, then actually there's no point in putting that down in front of yourself. And you know, if you've ever flown on an aeroplane, you'll know that when the oxygen mask drops out of the roof, they say put your mask on first. So one of the glass balls will definitely be your health. So work out which the glass balls are, the ones that you would not want to drop. And you've got balls that would be titled things like your health, your family, your friends, your job, career, maybe your ability to learn, maybe your spiritual life. And when I talk about spirituality here, I'm talking about finding time for yourself. That could be a religion, it could be going fly fishing. It's just you finding time for you. So what's the stuff that you want to be doing? What's the key stuff, and what's the stuff you just would not want to drop? So what are you spending 168 hours on? What's the stuff you absolutely would not want to drop? Where do you want to take your life? Because until you know that, it's very, very difficult to start talking about techniques to manage what you're doing. And one final thought for you as I check out on this video is I want to know, and I want you to know more accurately, I want you to know whether you are currently living your life as if you're an immortal. And what I mean by that is, are you spending your time as if there's an endless pot of time to draw on? I can always do it tomorrow. Next week's okay. What about next month? Oh, well, we'll do that next year. I have news for you. Quite current, massive accident on the M5. None of those people planned to be in that accident. Some of them didn't walk away from it last week. Very tragic, but the reason I mention it is because for any of us, the clock can just stop, just like that. For me, in 2008, it was a heart attack that told me that, do you know what? You're not immortal. This could stop you at any time. So if you're treating yourself as immortal, I'd like you to take a step back off of that and think, yeah, but what if? Have I now got myself in a position where my family's okay, where everything I need is set up to look after people? Am I in a position where I could sit back and say, well, do you know what? It may have been a short ride in some cases, but it was a worthwhile one because I made a difference. Just some questions for you to ask yourself, so that when you sit back and think, right, now I need to get on top of this, you'll be ready for the next video that I put up, which will be more about some techniques about how to manage that. So thanks for watching, hope you got something out of that, and please, please, please send me feedback, comments on this. I'd love to hear from you. So thanks very much, and see you again soon.